So what I want to talk about, like shifting the conversation a little bit, still YouTube, but people sometimes just look at the views and try to think that any view is equal and every single view is equal, which is not true. And let me give an example. So we have a client or partner, whatever you want to call them, and we made a video and it got just 2.5 thousand views. And I made $36,000 sale from that video. Why? Because 2.5 thousand people that watched were entrepreneurs, right? Some of your podcasts, sometimes it can be huge podcast episode that gets hundreds of thousands of views, but sometimes it can 10,000 views or 5,000 views or 1,000 views, right? But if you track the right kind of people, you can still build a great business in the back end of it. So can you share like your strategy and your thoughts on this, that, hey, you don't have to get millions of views to make real money. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to grow your business, even if you get 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, if these are the right views, you can build a real business. If you can share like your strategy, maybe approximately numbers that you guys are doing, not exactly, just to show people that you can run on behind of it and build a sustainable business, that would be cool. So yeah, what would be your thoughts on this?
100%, man. So as JK Molina says, like saying cash, but I like to add to that saying views in cash, right? Because it's not always about how many views you have. Often the more views you have, the less money you make in terms of business transactions, product sales, people engaging for your services and whatnot. So to give context, like some of my videos, they go up and down, like everyone, right? Completely open with that. And our business right now is doing anywhere between $60,000 and $80,000 a month, which is a complete done for you service, as well as our new incubator, which is still quite new. It's a couple of months old. So it's a combination of done for you and done with you. But we're anywhere between 60 to 80,000 a month. We've been like that for quite some time. We're well over like $1 million a year. And if anything, we're trying to go from like $1 million a year to $3 million a year is like our next kind of goal and milestone. Obviously a big leap, right? But what I'm trying to say is that we have this structure in the back end, which is like a cash flowing agency business, also a content coaching business as well at the same time. But on the front end, what you see on the marketing, it's not about how many likes you get, how many views you get. It's the level of engagement. So within our portfolio, we manage shows. So we have probably around 50 shows in our portfolio across what we kind of do, and we do a bunch of different kind of stuff. But within those shows, they're all entrepreneurs. So we don't run like relationship podcasts and all this kind of shit. We're usually running guys that are in their mid 40s or 50s, and they're running, let's say, like payroll companies, HR companies. They're running, let's say, digital marketing companies, multifamily real estate companies. So they're very niche. It could be like, dude, it could be like real estate in like Florida, right? It would be very minute niche, right? But at the same time, these shows that we run on the back end, they're not doing millions of views. They're not even doing tens of thousands of views. They're doing maybe 1,000, maybe a couple of hundred. But that audience, because they're in a category of one, they're, let's say, in a real estate, multifamily niche in the south of Florida. That niche particularly, there's not many guys in the mid 40s that are building a $40 million a year business that are doing that. So they're already differentiated. So the views that they're getting are strong engagement. So the way I would present this to a client is that we show them the front end of where they're in the views, but then we show them on the back end of like what the demographics are, who are these people. And we usually have like some good indicators. So let's say it's signups in newsletters. It could be product sales. It could be calls booked. These are the metrics generally that we're trying to add in to basically show that like there's proof in the pudding that effectively we're not getting random bots from like bot farms in Russia, right? It's like actual real engaged people. And I think that shift for me has really helped bring in the right client and right person, because, you know, people often say that your clients and your customers are a reflection of you. So when we engage with people, we're not looking for people that are looking for 1 million views. And often when we work with people that do, they're an absolute nightmare to work at, because you show them a video that has 600,000 views and they want 650,000 views, right? Because they don't even know what the metric is they're trying to optimize. Whereas we have many shows that are very small, that are doing $250,000 a year in sponsorship, and they're happy because they know their show isn't imaginably huge, but at the same time, any rational entrepreneur will have some sort of discernment to look at it from a logical perspective to think, I don't need 10 million views if I'm in the HR niche, right? I'm not Diary of the CEO, I'm not Joe Rogan, I'm not Tim Ferriss. So there has to be that kind of expectation and reality of what you want. Now, the flip side to that is like if you're going to go for like creator style podcasts or videos in general, and then you're really optimizing for views, well, you're playing a different game. You're probably doing what you're doing, right? Which is faceless YouTube, trying to get as many views as possible. Whereas for us, I would probably have sometimes I'll give you an example. For some of our niche podcasts, I'll give you an example of like a HR podcast that we have, right? HR, right? Super dry. If I see a lot of views in the content, I'm like, ooh, something's kind of off. You know, something's kind of off, right? Because there's too many. Whereas we're going after target markets, audiences, the right audience, and it helps everything, dude. Helps the positioning. It helps how we write newsletters. Helps how we show up on different platforms and so on and so forth. But I think a lot of guys have not figured this shit out, and even they could be looking in at me and they're like, "Oh, this guy's only doing this amount of views, right?" Because it's arbitrary. It's completely arbitrary, right? But if you have a good understanding of what it is you're optimizing for, then all the views and stuff is like a secondary effect. But what it does is it gives you a good indicator. So if you do know that it's increasing and engaging, like we brought a channel from like 0 subscribers to like 1,000 recently, but it was like funny because it was an executive podcast, and I was like, well, if these are 1,000 executives, you know, in the 30 or 40 days that we got that to that point, like, aren't you happy, right? And a lot of people are like, yeah, that's what I want, because I know if I had 1 million subscribers, they're going to be a bunch of 14-year-olds, right? And there's always that kind of debate, and I see a lot of red flags too with this stuff, right? A lot of guys that are running up weird shit. They're doing ads to their videos on YouTube. They're doing a couple of shady shit, and it's like, dude, there's not 500,000 executives in the fucking healthcare niche in New York, I'll tell you that much. So something's gone wrong, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think there's a book called 1,000 True Fans or something like this, which is, or like concept, where if you have just 1,000 people that are really enjoying what you do and it's niche and it's who you want to serve, you will kind of be financially free for the rest of your life. So for people watching, I would like them, why I ask this question is for them to understand that they shouldn't just only optimize for vanity metrics, but also for the right viewer. And even for our videos, right? Sometimes it can get a few hundred views and we can make literally tens of thousands of dollars because of the backend, because of deals, because of mentorships and all of this stuff. And I'm sharing this to show people what's possible, right? And here's the thing. And this is what I've been in the Skool Games event. Alex Hormozi was talking about this too. He said, man, I want to get as many views as possible, but it needs to be the right views. Right? Yeah. So I think that kind of mindset is really powerful. So like for people watching, I'm not saying that, hey, I don't want to get more views. No, if it's the right person, I want to get 100 times more views for sure, right? And that's why I will keep improving, and that's what we all should do. But no matter what you do, the foundation of it, the core piece is, it needs to be the right person. If you just try to go viral and attract people that aren't your avatar, you just set yourself up for failure in the long term, just for some numbers. Now, a lot of these trainings are available for free with all of the templates, AI tools, private feedback for you to be able to implement in your business. And guess what? It's absolutely free. So if you're interested, the link will be down below in the description and you can apply to join there.